I'm a hustler, baby.
It's time for Hustle Her Podcast. I'm your host, Deshae Keynes. Hustle Her is all about inspiring women through real life experiences that have helped to mold and develop not only me, but my guests into the entrepreneurs and leaders we are today. If you're an enterprising woman determined to succeed and looking for a bit of motivation, a bit of tough love, and some actionable takeaways to be the best you, girl, you are in the right place. Hey guys, welcome back to Hustle Her Podcast. Thank you for spending some time with me today. As always, I genuinely appreciate it. Big shout out to our sponsors, Brown & Co., as well as 59 Front. So make sure you head over to 59 Front. You can buy this lovely Jo Malone candle that we have here on the coffee table today. And then I'll be also doing some shorter videos from some of the other things that they have over there. So for those of you who are regular listeners and follow the Instagram page, I did a People's Choice kind of contest for who everyone wanted to see on the podcast for this season. So my next guest is someone who was already scheduled to be on, but she hands down won the vote. So please help me welcome Dr. Carmen Rabain. She is the partner and owner of Coral Dental. Carmen.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm great.
Good. All right. So we're going to jump in and get some of these questions that we have. We want to get to know you a little bit better, and then we'll jump right in. Okay. Cool? All right. What is your skincare routine?
My skincare routine is, well, in the morning, it's a bit of a scramble with two little kids. Mm-hmm. So it's a 15-minute dash.
Yeah.
So not much, like Dove in the shower. In the evening, I do a series of things with the Osea products, which I really love. I had a facial somewhere at a hotel here, and they kind of instructed me. So I do a serum and a toner and a moisturizer afterwards.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Nighttime routines for me are a bit more heavy as well. I have the time to actually focus on my face, which is good. All right. I'm happiest when?
I'm happiest when I'm in front of good food. I love food. I'm eating or cooking and with good people, good conversation.
Okay. Perfect. All right. What did you spend your first paycheck on after you, became a dentist? What was the first bit of money you spent on yourself?
Yeah. I invested in a better place to live, just getting, just upgrading a little bit. Started from the bottom. And, wanted to get a better place to live. I was waiting on that check so we could upgrade. And I also invested in a good pair of shoes because I was the Target girl. I still am a Target girl.
I mean, Target's got some nice stuff.
Kind of love Target.
We can't knock it,
Can't knock it at all.
You spend way too much money in there, so
definitely,
I get it.
You can get lost. So, but the shoes, if you wear Target shoes, for a little while, they don't hold up the same way a high quality shoe would.
There you go. So, yeah, I get it.
A good shoe.
All right, cool. Walk me through what you like to do on the plane.
A book. I love reading. I wait to get into the airport to go into one of the little shops, and I'm there with people that don't usually look like me, and we're all looking through little books, and I just sit there and read, and my husband's wondering what I'm doing. And I find a really good book that I want to read, and I just want to sit on the plane and turn the pages and feel the book.
Nice.
I wait for that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What does love feel like?
Love feels like acceptance, loving your authentic self, someone who loves you for who you are, truly. Acceptance, loving who you are, and I would say just a peace that I feel from love. Yeah.
All right. And who or what are you listening to currently? I guess who.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Gregory Porter, who I know people don't really know.
No idea who that is.
So he's a jazz musician, jazz, but he sings like jazz. He's kind of Nat King Cole-esque. Just a really soothing baritone. You don't hear a baritone voice very often. There's something really soothing about it, and he has some really amazing and calming songs. So at the end of the day, I like to cook and turn him on, and it calms the kids down. And also when I'm working, I think it's very relaxing for patients.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's your hidden talent? Something not a lot of people know about you.
Hidden talent is I like to paint. I don't know how good I am, but I like it.
Are you like one of those people at the Sip and Paints that are like doing really well, or is it like, ooh, we don't know what that is?
I think I take it way too seriously at Sip and Paint. Like, I am invested in that picture, and I feel like I do a pretty good job. My friends are always like, Carmen. I'm like, yeah, I just love something.
Humble brag, I'm here for it.
I try.
Okay, so obviously, I know you've heard about the whole celebrity crush thing, but I ask everyone who comes on now, who's the celebrity crush?
Yeah. I would have to say from childhood, I loved Usher Raymond.
Usher Raymond.
Love Usher. I went to his concert, and like, he just embodies, he had a little bit of Atlanta, which I love. It's just home. And then also like his interaction with the audience is amazing. And he's just my guy.
It was a good time. You went to the Vegas show?
I did.
Okay. I gotta go. I heard he extended.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make it a point to head down to Vegas for that Usher show. Okay. And I know you're not Bermudian, but you are married to one, and I'm hoping and praying that he is leading you down the right way. So tell me, who is your cup match team?
Somerset.
There we go.
100.
There we go.
100%.
Cup match might be over,
Winners.
but exactly. There you go. That's all you have to say.
The winners.
Sorry, Lara. It'll be all right. All right, so let's jump right in. So, as the owner and partner of one of our leading dentist office in Bermuda, something that I've noticed, because I've had the pleasure of coming into your practice before, is that you employ a lot of young local Bermudians qualified in their field. You don't usually see that in practices in Bermuda. And as someone who's not from here, like, what was kind of the essence or genesis behind that when you bought your practice?
I just thought, honestly, where I started, I always was into giving back and being in touch with my community.
Yep.
So when I was in dental school, I went to a dental school where there weren't many people that looked like me. But we had a group that always took the time to go back into the high schools. We spent time just trying to motivate and educate and expose like young people to the profession.
Nice.
It's just more of something that's instilled in me. It doesn't matter where I go. I would be invested in people who typically wouldn't have opportunities, and being able to bring them along because they look like me. That's where I was. And so I was given the opportunity, and I always look to be able to give someone who, first of all, has a skill set. Like, it's not, we're not just picking up whoever, but have the skill set, have the warmth that we're looking for, and then, just have the drive to do something more. So my team is just phenomenal. They're awesome. They're good people. And I think, we're like a family.
Yeah. You can tell, like, from the social media, you guys look like you get along, always doing like the trends and then the parties, and you guys are always doing give backs. So that started in your first practice. Well, when you first started in dentistry, the give backs.
Yeah. I think it's just something from childhood, like where my family, my mother and my grandmother, like we worked. We were churchy people, so we were always in the church. And my grandmother used to do the homeless feeding programs and things, and then we would give back to like families in the community. It's something that's been instilled with me. I just sat around in church all day, like packing baskets for people.
Yeah.
And so I always was very connected to the community, and I think that translates to who I am now, where it's just an intimate part of who I am. Where I'm doing this for a reason. Like, I'm not just doing this just to make money. Like, I'm doing this as a service. So yeah, it's just part of who I am. And we're even going to, next week we leave for Guatemala. We go on a mission trip. So we're going back there to serve and to be able to help out the kids there.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's really good, because sometimes people just kind of look at doctors and think they're just here to just kind of make money, and they never really give back into the community. Yeah. So it's something I really admire about your practice. So you mentioned about your mom and your grandma. Like, tell me about little Carmen. Like, where are you from?
Yeah. So I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. We were only there for a couple of years. Yeah, I was born in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, which is real middle America. But yeah, I loved it. I only was there a couple years, and then I moved straight to Atlanta. So I spent the majority of my life in Atlanta, as little Carmen was in Atlanta. I grew up, my dad was a pastor. My mom was a nurse. She had a constant drive. She was a big inspiration for me as far as education, and my dad. They both are very much into education. But my mom, she like went back. She started off as an RN, and then she went back and became a nurse practitioner, got her master's, and then she went on and got her doctorate as she was an adult. She spent a lot of time considering how to move herself forward, because she started off as an RN. She always wanted to be a doctor, and she always had a huge thirst to do more as far as her studies. And I remember being surrounded by that, as well as my father. So we grew up in Atlanta. Little Carmen always loved sports. I played volleyball.
Really?
I captained my volleyball team. I played basketball.
So we got to get you out on the volleyball team.
I love volleyball.
Really?
My shoulder ain't quite what it used to be.
Oh, goodness.
But I'm good. I can do it.
Okay. All right. So when you were younger, did you know you always wanted to be a dentist?
No, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. I thought I wanted to be a surgeon, actually. So I thought pediatrician. I love my pediatrician. And my mom used to tell me I would go to the pediatrician's house, like when my mom worked for her, and she would say, if you want a house like this, you got to get good grades. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll be like that. And she was a Black woman, and she was beautiful and she was sweet. And so I thought I wanted to be like her. And then I learned I like to work with my hands. So I thought I would be a surgeon, like a neonatal surgeon.
Yeah.
And I started shadowing the surgeon and realized that their hours were something that wouldn't support what I wanted to do, which is be a mommy.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to have time to be at home with my kids. And so she actually enlightened me and told me, like, you know, you should really check out dentistry, because my friend's a dentist and she still works with her hands. She still does surgery. But she's able to have the flexibility to be with her family, and her day cuts off, you know, at a certain time, a little better than the surgeons.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was kind of like the driving force behind becoming an entrepreneur? Because like some people, you know, they look at entrepreneurs like, oh, it looks fun, like, you know, great, you can set your own hours, all that type of stuff. But there's a lot of comfort in working for someone else, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Guaranteed in paychecks, and you're not dealing with the politics of offices, hiring, firing, all of that. So what made you go from, you know, the comfort of not having to worry about any of that to, you know what, I'm going to buy this practice, take it on, transform it. What was that?
That's a good question, because it was really challenging. Initially, before I was married, I always thought I'll have my own practice one day. But after I had kids, it became a big focus of mine. Like I love being a mom. And so when I got to that point, I thought, you know, maybe I don't have to. And I was in a good practice that I was working, and I really enjoyed the people that I was there with. And then this opportunity kept presenting itself, a couple of them. And I think it was just the fact that I just know that if I didn't take the opportunity to do it then, I might not ever do it. And I feel like, you know, like truly God, like just aligned it so that I was able to do it. So I stepped out there and I'm like, Lord, if it all aligns, then I'll do it. And I kept stepping and things just fell into place. And my now partner, we worked together at the previous office where we were both very content and cozy. And she's like, what are you doing? She thought I was absolutely insane. That's all right. Later, I told her, come on and help me out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a scary thing as a woman as well, like when you know you're in a comfort zone, you're doing all right, to step out by yourself and to do it, especially when you've never done it before.
Yeah.
They don't train like medical professionals, healthcare professionals, anything about business.
Really?
Like nothing. Like we're in school for 8, 10, 12 years and they don't give you business training. So you have to do that on your own.
Gotcha.
So it's a scary thing to step out there and not just be like, I'm masterful at my craft of dentistry, but I knew nothing about running a business. So I had to do a lot of CE, spend a lot of time with people who were masterful and put good people in my corner, and it happened.
Yeah. So what would you say has been the biggest learning curve outside of like the business aspect of it? Anything else that you weren't expecting?
I think it's just managing people. I think it's just the fact that, you know, you expect others to react in situations like you would. You know, like I'm like always shocked by that. So you go through some difficult spots with people and trying to like give them a chance. And then they don't necessarily always reciprocate in the same way, or they don't respond in the way that you thought they would.
Yeah.
But when you filter through and you get the really good ones, then you have something really amazing.
Yeah,
it's
that's
fun.
good. No, I totally understand. And then as an entrepreneur as well, we have this like need to want to defend the business as well, especially when someone leaves or is no longer with us or has a bad experience, whatever that may or may not look like, because it's your baby, right? It's like something that you've put your heart and soul into, so you take it so personally, and that's always so difficult as well.
Yeah, but managing people is just, every shoe doesn't fit, and and I have a specific bus. Like, we have a specific bus that we're on, with a direction that we're going, and I know what we want and who we want to be, and it doesn't fit for everybody, and that's okay. But yeah, I just want everybody to get along. So it's hard as someone who's managing people to sometimes step back and say, this probably isn't the best fit.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate.
Yeah.
So walk me through how you ended up in Bermuda. And I know it's with your husband, so walk us through the story of that and how you ended up here.
Oh yeah, okay. So I was finishing dental school, and I just came on vacation to visit a girlfriend of mine that was here, a childhood friend. And I just said, I'll come sleep on your couch. I just need to get away from Alabama for a minute and have a change of scenery. So I came here, and I said, can we go to the beach tomorrow? It was on a Friday. And she's like, okay, well, let's go to church first, and then we can go to the beach. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's go to church. I love church. So we went, and I randomly bumped into my husband, and he knew my friend's husband. And then I just kept seeing him throughout the week that I was here, and we talked every single day since then. So suddenly, here I am in Bermuda. And we said, maybe 3 years we'll live here. And 13 years later, almost 14 years,
I feel like a lot of people who are like mixed couples in terms of like one from Bermuda, another one from somewhere else, like, we'll come to Bermuda for a few years. And then it turns into like, 20 years later, we've been here all this time.
That's it.
And we've bought a practice, and we have a house, and it's all of that. So you met him at church on vacation. Yeah,
it was really random. And I don't know. I think it was just, I literally started praying for like a specific things. And it was just so easy. It was so different than every other relationship I had been in. And it was very simple. Every time he said he would call, he called, and we did the long distance thing for about a year, and then I was here.
So how is it being married to a Bermudian in Bermuda? Like, what is that process being like? Because it's not the true expat kind of environment, because you're immersed into like a Bermudian lifestyle as well, but you're not really from here. Like, how is that? I'm always very interested to know how people, feel.
Yeah. It's been good. At first, when you get here, you get a couple comments. You get like you stole one of our guys, one of our Bermudians.
Oh, man.
I got that a couple times. But after I developed relationships with people, they were good. I was like, well, you can have one of mine. You guys can head over to Atlanta and scoop one up. I'll trade you. I'll trade
exchange.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So I got that a couple times at the beginning, but I think it's just, I love people. So I think since I've been here, I've just kind of immersed myself in the culture. I've made Bermudian friends, and I do things with them, what they do. I don't know. It's just part of my life now. Bermuda is part of me, but it does take a little time to get used to it. And you just you miss things about home. So part of the marriage agreement is that I get home quite whenever I want to. Like, I go back and forth often. Yeah. And that way I'm not so homesick. And my family loves Bermuda, so they come here, and we just have meshed together.
I like when you said a part of the marriage agreement.
It was part of the marriage agreement.
That is
I'm
hilarious.
Like, okay, if I do this, then you're okay with me leaving, right? And he was. He was like, okay, yeah, you can go. It changes a little bit when you have kids, because he just doesn't want to be at home with the kids all the time by himself. Yeah. But we've worked it out.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get that. And then it's also like, you want to go home, you want to see your family, and you miss certain things, like, going to Target, right?
Target.
There you
and
go.
Fall in Target is the best. Like, right now, I miss like warm sweaters and like shopping all the fall items in Target. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. We really don't have a fall in Bermuda.
Yeah,
it goes from like hot to not so hot, and then damp and cold, and then back hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I loved fall. And I was a nerd, so I like sharpen pencils, like when you're starting
Sharpen pencils, Carmen.
Like the smell of that is so... and like fall leaves and like, and the sweaters, and then like the pumpkin patch rides and hay rides. I don't know. I know, a little corny, but I love it. All of it.
Well, you're from down south too, which those are big things in the
It
South,
was,
right? So I went to
yeah.
school. We went to the same alma mater, Oakwood University,
Yes.
OU, and I think we
OU.
both. You were there when I was there as well,
Yeah.
and so Oakwood College, sorry, and then. You see all the fall, you see the changes, you see the leaves, then they have like the apple picking and the pumpkin
Yes, all
patches.
that.
So it's very, very Southern. So I
Yes.
do agree.
Okay.
All right. So now that you guys have kids and, you know, you have two cultures to kind of blend, like what is something that how do you balance, I guess, your cultures with your kids? You know, there's some holidays that we don't have here in Bermuda that's in the States and vice versa. How does that happen? Or how does it work, I should
think
say?
I just do it all. The more holidays, the better. So we do them all. So Thanksgiving is the one holiday I thirst for here. It was my favorite holiday at home. But I still cook, and I make sure I make some basic things that must be there, like the collard greens and the sweet potatoes and the macaroni. And
I'm still
the
waiting
dressing,
for my Thanksgiving invitation.
The dressing. Oh, okay. I'll work on that. The dressing, not the stuffing. That's a big thing.
It's a big thing. That's very Southern.
It's a very Southern thing. Yeah. So I just do them both. And then like 4th of July, I was born on 4th of July.
Yes.
And so that's something that I miss here. But we go home most of the time. We're there. We make sure we see the fireworks. And then when we're here, we're May 24. We are cup matched out. We are fully immersed in culture here too, so they know both of their sides. Yeah. And if anybody asks them, they have been well exposed to both. And they spend the summers with my mom. She's out in the country in Nashville. So they get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, when you look back, right, on like what you did as a kid, I think a good balance of both is always really good. I think so. I grew up in Bermuda, but I also spent a lot of time overseas because my parents were in university. So that balance of knowing both cultures is really great. So I think, you know, it helps out. And then you get like these weird accents sometimes though, because it's like you're around certain, you know, Americans and then you're with Bermudians. So it like that adaptability in the accents is strange.
Yeah, my son, his accent is a little crazy right now. It is. He's got some thick Bermudian accent, and then he says y'all. You know, so he's got like some. It's a serious mixture. You're right.
Yeah. It's that summertime in the country with his grandparents, right?
And me.
Yeah.
I'm y'all all day.
Say y'all
I'm a y'all girl.
Yeah. It happens, especially when you're in down south. Like that y'all will roll off the tongue. I drew the line when I said finna one day. I was like, I'm finna go to the store. I was like,
yes.
Who am I? And I was like, never again. And that's when I knew it was time to leave Huntsville.
Yeah, it's rubbing off.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So it wasn't always, you weren't always in this space as a mom where, you know, you had two lovely kids. Like in the beginning, you know, you went through some difficulty with not actually having kids, but with your pregnancy. Yes. Like, and again, I want everyone to be very aware. I asked Carmen if it was okay to discuss this. So walk me through your first child.
Yeah, first baby. I had an amazing pregnancy, and I was yoga mom, and I was doing all the things and preparing for my beautiful natural birth. And I had a stillborn. I was 41 weeks pregnant. I was out walking on the beach and trying to walk the baby down as everybody told me to do. And I was going for my checkups, and I felt some strange things. And then the baby stopped moving. So I lost the baby at 41 weeks, and it was truly the most traumatic thing I think I've been through in my life. And it took a period to try to recover from that and just to recenter myself. And really spiritually, which is the foundation and the crux of my life, is my relationship with God. Just asking him why, like what is going on. But it also allows you to have your own experience, your own spiritual experience, not your parents' experience, but truly your own experience and being able to go through a trial that tough on your own just allows you to grow and to really sit down and have those questions with God. Yeah. So that's kind of where I ended up. But it was an amazing experience in that while I was searching for the answers as to why that would happen, because people lose babies, and I've had miscarriages too, like earlier on. And I'm not discrediting a miscarriage, because all of these losses are really traumatic.
Yeah.
But there's something about carrying a baby with this big tummy and sitting down and working on patients that I see all day, every day, and that come back in 6 months and are waiting to see the baby. There's something about going through that external view of pregnancy that was difficult. So as I searched for the answers as to why I would be allowed to even get that far, I've learned, I'm still learning that I truly believe that it was a vessel for me to be able to be empathetic towards others. The amount of women that I've been able to encourage and be in contact with after that is phenomenal. I started like a little support group when I got back I left the island and kind of hid, because the great thing about Bermuda is that everybody knows you. The bad thing about Bermuda is
everybody knows you. Exactly.
So everybody was waiting to see this baby. So I just kind of fled and hid out in my mom's attic, basically upstairs in her house. And one thing I did while I was there is I went to support groups. And when you're in the States, there are quite a few people who are maybe going through the same thing. But when you're in Bermuda, you feel a little isolated because there's a smaller population of people to draw from. So you feel like you're by yourself. And I found a lot of people didn't talk about it. So I got back. I was like, okay, I'm going to start a support group. So I just I was on like a one-track mind of trying to distract myself from the baby. And I wrote OBGYNs and told the hospital, hey, look, I have this. Like, if women are going through something, like, I'll sit down with them and just share my story. And I had another friend who was going through something similar, so two of us did it. And it's been amazing, the amount of women that I've been able to connect with. And I don't have any profound wisdom in it. I don't have any formal training in it. But many times you just want to talk to somebody else who's been through the same thing. So we sat down, we talked. I'd bring them a bear. I just tell them celebrate their baby, and we grow through that. So I truly feel like I went through that process so that I'm able to. It's just like an arm of like ministry for me, an arm of another arm of service, I guess. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So you said just now, they celebrate the baby. Yeah. How do you do that? How do you, as you said you were 41 weeks, that's a full term baby, right? Yeah. How do you celebrate a baby who you no longer felt kicking, and you still had to go through the birthing process, I'm assuming, and then you walk away and not have that child? Like, how do you celebrate that?
So I planted a tree, like I planted a little lemon tree, and that reminds me of him. It's my Austin tree.
That was his name. Also, you named him
his name was Austin. Yeah, and that's it. Like, celebrating him is like speaking his name and like talking about the fact that he was here and his life meant something, and that was my purpose. I'm like, what did his life mean? Like, why did I go through this? And I feel like his life meant something to be able to encourage others. It meant something in my family. It just gave me right now with my own kids, I have a different level of passion with my children. And I had to fix that a little bit, like with the first baby, because when I first had Ava, like I was so happy to have a baby. Like I would just sit and hold her, and you can't just hold a baby all the time. Yeah. Really spoiled.
You gotta leave them alone. You gotta put them down sometimes.
Yeah. So I think that you have to find the balance in that. But I think his life allowed me to be able to celebrate my kids and be a better mother now. I really, truly appreciate it. And I celebrate him through that, and they know about him. And I tell my other like moms, like, speak their names, like find ways to remember them every year around their birthday, and just find ways to incorporate them into your life so it's not like they're forgotten.
Yeah, definitely. Because I guess I guess it's hard, because sometimes it's like, would it be easier to try to forget and just move on? But then I'm assuming that doesn't help with that grieving process.
Yeah, I guess everybody's a little different. I'm not a real quiet person. Like it would be unnatural for me to sweep something under the rug.
Yeah.
I'm like a wear it on your shoulder kind of girl.
Yeah.
Like I want to, like I will just share whatever. So that for some people, I think they might feel better about hiding something and just keeping it closed. And many people do. And I had people that reached out to me after I had the loss and suddenly were like, hey, I've been through this. And they've never mentioned it before.
Why do you think we as women tend to shy away from that? What do you think that is?
I think there's a little shame in it. You walk around and you see women that just pop out babies like candy, like in the rice field, you know?
Yeah.
Like they've been doing it like since ancient times.
Yeah.
And so like everybody expects us to be able to do this womanly thing, which is to birth a baby. And so I think there's a little shame in it. It's really sad. It's a reminder that you failed at something. So I think that maybe we don't talk about that because of that reason. But truly, it's not something to be ashamed of because so many women go through it.
Yeah.
And I think if we shared more, we could encourage each other and sit beside each other and feel the support and figure out how to do it again.
Yeah.
Try again if you want to.
Definitely. Yeah. And then the trying part is also, again, after that happens, like I'm assuming during those processes, you get just as nervous as the first time.
Yeah. It like changes your relationship. It can really be difficult to recover from that. And it can be harsh on the husband. Like he didn't sign up for this. Like they don't want to have to go through this, and watching their wife going through this type of turmoil. I mean, they're sad too.
Yeah.
But it's different for the women. And so it changes what used to be fun. It changes it into something that becomes a chore and a thing that is just something that is almost like a thing that you want to kind of shy away from every month. You don't even want to think about it. And it changes the whole direction and the energy of your month when you're waiting to see if you might have a baby this month.
Yeah. That's great. So how was Ryan with you during that time?
He was great. He's just super patient. My husband's opposite of me. He is like completely balanced, he's just always the same. And this was hard for him, but he's truly like my complement. So whereas I know people whose relationships are strained and they don't make it through this kind of thing, it pushes them apart. He was just there. He was just supportive. Every time I was in the shower crying by myself, he was just there. He was phenomenal. He was awesome. And he was down for all of the shenanigans that I put him through. Like I had a calendar and, he was there. He was ready. And he's been an amazing father. He was just committed to the process because he wanted the same thing that I did, and we just did it.
Yeah. So what do you want to say to like women now that have gone through that? So we spoke about miscarriages in a previous episode, but I think a full-term loss like that is different in some ways. And like you said, we're not diminishing that in any way. But what is something that you want to convey to someone who may have just gone through that?
If you've just gone through it, I just would say to find somebody else to talk to so you don't feel so alone. And so you don't feel like you've done something wrong. I'll say one example that I remember like vividly is going into the grocery store right after it happened. And a patient walked up to me. I was grabbing something off of like the top shelf, and she's like, I bet you grabbed something off the top shelf like that when you were pregnant, didn't you? And she's like, that pulls the umbilical cord and it chokes your baby. That's probably what happened.
What?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So then I'm like in the grocery store, like, okay, maybe I did do that. Full tears, like just having. That's why I had to like leave.
Yeah,
because people would make little comments.
People are so insensitive.
Yeah, and they just they feel like they're helping,
and that is not helpful.
No, because then you go home and you think about it, and you're like, maybe I did do that. And there's this like whole guilt thing. So I feel like women who have losses, there's something that happened during your pregnancy where you feel like I did something wrong. And honestly, like women used to work in the fields. Women do gymnastics. They do run, all levels everything. Of marathons. Like it had nothing to do with you doing something wrong. It had something that happens. Like statistically, it just happens. So I would say find somebody to talk to, so you can realize that somebody else is going through it as well.
Yeah.
And push through it and try again if you want to.
Okay, perfect. And then now you have beautiful Ava and Ashton. So when you look at them now, given the loss that you had of Austin, like how does that feel having your two beautiful kids now?
Oh, they're the best. It is like my joy to come home to them every day. As hectic as it is to be a mom, it is the best. And I think that, like I said, you just appreciate it in a different level. Like I love, whereas I'm definitely like I love a good event, a party, like what's happening, like let's go. Like I'm the friend that's down to travel, to go, and to always be busy. But being a mom to them, it brings me the most joy. And so I'm learning over and over as I'm getting a little older that I think that brings me the most joy when I'm sitting there cooking or painting with them. Although I still like my party, I still like a good event, but I find a peace in being their mom and being next to them and just being able to see them learn and just and grow. Yeah, they're growing so fast.
Yeah. Time is flying by. Oh my gosh, can't believe it. Ava's what, 10 now?
She's turning 10.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. Anyway, we are running out of time, so we're gonna do a part 2. So we can get everything together. Kind of ask you some more questions. But I always round out with everyone at the end of each episode, like when you're no longer on this planet, and someone says Carmen Rabain, or if they knew you by your maiden name, like what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want people to say about you when you're no longer with us?
I think that I would just want to be remembered as a person who loved passionately. I loved people. I loved my friends. I loved God. And that I was authentic and that I was true to myself. And I think that's kind of the foundation of how I function. Like I want to function in true love with whoever I'm with and in authenticity.
Nice. I love that. Okay. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And two ways people can get in contact with you. So the first thing is, if anyone wants to do anything teeth related, how do they get in contact with you to potentially come to Coral Dental?
Yeah, just call my office. I've got amazing ladies that will hook you up. They will get you in. I've been really busy. I'm very blessed to be very busy.
Yes.
But I have associate dentists that just joined us, so we are welcoming new patients at this point, whereas we weren't before. So just call one of our girls, Charmaine, Sherian. These girls will take care of you, or you can email us.
Okay, perfect. And then if anyone wants to reach out for the support group or anything that you have going on with that, how's the best way to get in contact with you for that?
They can email me at dentist@coraldental.bm, and it comes directly to me.
Perfect.
And I'll be able to chat with them a bit and set up something to support them. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Perfect. Thanks again, Carmen. I appreciate you for spending some time with me on the couch. And thank you again. Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm glad we finally got it locked down.
Yes, me too.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today with the amazing Dr. Carmen Rabain, who is the partner and owner of Coral Dental. Make sure you head over to her company's website if you want to head over to Coral Dental to have anything done with your teeth. And then if you have any, questions for Carmen for any of the things that she spoke about on the podcast today, especially around the support group that we mentioned, make sure you email her. As always, thank you to our sponsors, Brown & Co. and 59 Front. Please head over to 59 Front for all of your needs. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next episode of Hustle Her Podcast.